What's going on, guys? It has been a while, hasn't it? Um, what's going on? Oh, am I finally? Yes, look at that. All right. So, yeah, my math is not good. I actually said it's been 9.5 months on that posting, but I guess it's actually about 6.5. So only 6.5 since I went dormant. But I'm back for anyone that is out there and cares and notices. But what's up, guys? How you doing? So I'm gonna play catch up. It's been it's been a fun time. I'm sure everyone out there has had lots of adventures over the last half a year, so me included. So I'm gonna try and catch you up. Believe it or not, I did not stop down on the game development. Actually, still doing that. Actually, I'm gonna switch back. I'm experimenting with the new setup here, and I'm already hating it. So there you go. I tried earphones, but you know what? Screw it. That doesn't work for me. So earphones are gone. There we go. Yeah, we got audio. All right. So yeah, I dropped off. If you remember, for anyone that actually watched back then, I did drop off. Had terrible issues with streaming and that kind of stuff, and just a little burned out. But that doesn't mean I didn't stop working on the game. I have been actually working on the game. Not done. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're shocked. I know. But part of it is because there's a ton of stuff still to do. Some of it I did not anticipate, and also the fact that, quite honestly, I went back and picked up some freelance work. So there was a good, at least 4 or 5 months of that time frame were actually spent doing some freelance work, and relegated the triple game to sort of nights and weekends kind of a project thing. But yeah, I can't really talk about the freelance stuff yet. If anyone remembers, I kind of do animation stuff. So I was fortunate enough, back in the day, I was sort of a pioneer doing the animation work remotely. But that's sort of, thanks to COVID, has become the norm. So I was able to go back and pick up some more work there. Once it actually comes out, I'll be happy to fill you in on all the specific GUI details of all the stuff I worked on since I last saw you guys. But in the meantime, let's just say it's some fun stuff. Trust me, there's some cool stuff in there. I'll talk about that once it actually hits the streets. But in the meantime, also still plugging away in the game. I have a list of all the things, and what I'm going to do is sort of like give you a quick rundown of all the things I kind of revamped, and then show you where I'm at right now. Yeah, I'm kind of all over the place, but I'm out of practice. Come on. This has been a long time. Let's see. Oh, yeah. So the new target now is, since we last talked, Steam added that beautiful new feature called playtesting. I'm sure anyone watching this probably is totally familiar with it, but in case, playtesting is sort of like the perfect hybrid. The beauty of it on Steam is that what I can do is actually release the full game, right, for free, and everyone can play it as much as they want, with the caveat that, number one, the game ain't finished. There's still stuff in there that needs to be finished. There's also going to be stuff that's probably broken, right? And that's so, but you're getting a chance to play the full game for free, right? And why this is better than either early access, in my opinion, or beta is because, well, number one, with beta, if you give out keys, right, when you release a full game, they automatically get the full game. Conversely, with early access, there's, I don't know. I mean, I'm of two minds on the concept of early access, but I think you can get a lot of reviews written up by people that how many times have you seen this? I know the game isn't finished yet. I know it's in early access, but there's lots of bugs. 1 star. So that's always a bad thing. You don't want to start off with getting your game out there and already have a bunch of 1 stars because it's not finished because you said it wasn't finished. Playtest. The cool thing about that, though, is when you actually release the game, excuse me, the playtest goes down. It shuts down. So that means that anyone that was still playing the game and enjoys it there's motivation for them to actually flip over and purchase the game, right? I mean, there's the option of tossing them keys, for anyone that was like a big help, that gave me lots of feedback and really helped out in terms of giving me bug hunts and that kind of stuff, then absolutely I'll toss out keys for those people and hook them up and that kind of stuff. But the nice thing about it though is that it's sort of like, puts a line in the sand, right? You guys will have the opportunity to play the game totally free, the whole game, right? For as long as we're still in test mode, which obviously has been extended since we're in February. And the last we spoke, I think I was shooting for December release, which obviously slipped away. But as I mentioned, that's because I went back to work. I actually earned some more cash to try and keep this ball rolling. So that's what I'm working for now, is the idea of getting a playtest version out there so you guys can play the full game totally for free, cost you nothing. And I'm close. I'm really, really close. There's going to be a lot of content missing, specifically high score tables, and the animated cutscenes will not be in place yet. But, hey, Lucchini! You're back. I know. It has been, what has it been? A couple of weeks, maybe? Months? Welcome back, man. I'm glad you made it back. Welcome. Yeah, I was just giving the rundown. So, I hadn't stopped. It's not like, to me, months. Yeah, it is. It's been actually since July. So, it's been July. And I was just explaining. Been here since July 2019. Wow. Damn, you've been in here for a long haul, man. So, no, what I was explaining was the fact that I have still been working on the game, but I also went back to work. I picked up some more freelance work, which delayed things as well, but kept the bills paid, which is nice. There you go. And then Penny's still waiting. She's been waiting all this time. Look at that. So, oh, nice. Good catch. Oh, actually, the yard looks in better shape than it does right now, but I digress. Got to work on some really fun projects, some animation projects that I unfortunately can't talk about yet since they haven't come out, but hopefully they'll come out soon so I can spill the beans and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, finish those things up. I have one more freelance project that's supposed to kick in, but the beauty of that one is going to be sort of a nights and weekends sort of concept. But that'll be fun. I'll talk about that once it comes out. But in the meantime, today I was going to explain what progress I actually have made. Also, I'm going to change things up a little bit here. You can see I kind of redid everything. I'm actually doing the green screen. I'm trying to get a little more professional? No, I don't know. But what I'm going to do is actually, rather than do like elongated streams, what I'm going to try and focus on is do like a 1 hour stream a couple days a week, right? So rather than just kind of drone on about something and, just boring, okay, I'm going to put all these pieces in place and it's just kind of, goes on endlessly. What I'm going to do is just sort of like do 1 hour, right? It's usually just Friday nights. That's true. I went to just Friday, but what I'm going to do now is try and do a couple days a week, but just 1 hour so I can sort of like bring you guys up to speed on the latest changes, right? Show the progress, and hopefully show you very soon that I am releasing the game. I think you just jumped in, so I was just explaining that I'm going to release the game on Steam under the playtest category, which allow anyone that has a Steam account, to download and play the full game totally free for as long as I'm in the test mode. So that'll give you guys a chance to play everything, right? But yeah, in the meantime, I'll give you a quick show of all the fun stuff. I'll go the id approach when it's done. Real soon. At this point, I need to clean up some stuff, which I may even start doing a little bit today, depending on how time goes, on the spaceship level, right? And what I have to do, let me explain. I played the demo when you released. Well, you're going to like this then. I mean, because there's a lot of upgrades, there's a lot of things, and it'll be not just the demo, it'll be like the full game, right? Minus high score tables, minus some of the extra cutscenes. But one of the things, if you remember a million years ago, when I was actually using my little custom level editor, speaking of which, there you go. So I have my little custom level editor that I made, right, that allowed me to bang out the levels, right? Now, the way I was doing it was I would flesh out the level, right? And then what I'd do is just physically grab the content, right, that I generated, and then just drag it in and generate a prefab for it, right? But in the process, that would break any existing prefabs of the characters, right? So long story short, what's happened now is that I have a lot of levels that have characters and objects that are no longer prefabbed, right? Which at first was no big deal. But when I started making all these revisions, right, that meant that I had to go back to every single character and every single level and update it manually or replace them with prefabs. And that's what I've been doing recently, was just replacing all of the characters with prefabs. And I made it to the 4th of 4 worlds, the spaceship level, and I need to finish that. And if I get to it today, you'll see that it's kind of a tiring process, right? I did find this really cool little nifty plugin script that somebody wrote called Replace with Prefab. This little puppy is so awesome right here. Let go. There you go. So the beauty of this is that what I can do is drop in a prefab here and then select anything in the scene, right? And hit replace, and it'll swap it out, right? Which is great because it snaps it, it gets rid of the old and broken version and replaces it with the prefab, but it also breaks any script connections you have. So you have to go back and reconnect, right? So it's, you know, I mean, it's still better because I'd have to do it manually anyways, right? So it's just, it's nice, but not perfect, but it's a script, so I can't complain. So anyways, so that's what I've been doing lately, but I actually made a list of all the things, and I probably forget some, but we'll go through it and see if I can show you. So I have like the new logo. I got around to making the new company logo. So there's the old scary robot, kind of the latest and greatest for that. So if I fire this up, we also have the new logo for Tribble Games as well. My partner actually came up with that. He's pretty happy, I think, for the moment. He may change his mind. And nothing's changed there. So I'll go ahead and pass through that. Let me see. Should I dial? I'm not sure. Once again, I'm doing like a new mix, so I don't know how the levels are here. You can tell me if I'm blaring you guys' ears out or not. But, or if I'm getting drowned out by the audio, I don't know. Let me know, because I still got to tweak this stuff. It's been a while. So you can see here, one of the things I did too is, if you remember long ago, here I had like the little tribble, and you would like roll them back and forth and then actually activate the different things. It was kind of a cool concept, but I think practically it's not really working in terms of the menu. It ends up being a little more too cryptic. And also what I needed to do was sort of prep it. What I have here is now I'm sort of setting it up so I can do localization, right, and get that working correctly. So, and I'm going to mute this. There you go. You don't need to listen to that for forever. So this way I can actually do all the language setups, because I have a couple of companies that I've been talking to that have been bugging me for a real long time now. They've been very persistent, and they keep asking, it's like, are you ready yet? You know, we want to do all your localization for you. You ready yet? And I keep saying, no, not yet. But I'm getting closer. No reason to give them a list when I'm still throwing stuff in there, obviously. But I went back and restructured all this stuff. So now it's preset and ready to go for localization. Excuse me. Okay, so like if you hit play, then we have the different modes, right? And then down here at the bottom of the screen, I was about to point. You can tell I'm out of practice. I can point to the screen like that helps. There you go, mouse cursor. So yeah, you get the info down here. That was similar to what it was before, but this is kind of new. Speedrun, obviously not activated yet, but coming soon. Oh, sorry. Yeah, way out of practice. Sorry. Smash the mic there. Come back here, buddy. There he goes. Okay, way out of practice. All right, so let's come back. So customization, a few things here. I don't think I had this menu set up before for being able to customize the outfits. So now you can go through, right? Select them. Once you've unlocked them, obviously this is going to be part of missions. Oh, and missions is something that I have not completed yet. So you complete missions, and then you can unlock all these cute little outfits, and then some of them are even customizable, like this one. You see if the customized color pops up. That means you can actually change it, and you can do that. So that was always an intention. That was always a plan. But now I've actually done it. I've actually got all that implemented. Except now that's good for that point. Select this outfit. Now I'd be playing as the punk outfit, but I'm gonna go ahead and come back and make just a plain old triple by himself, the normal thing there. So okay, so we got that. Again, all the different 20 outfits, right? So there's that. Oops. High scores, as you can see, currently not available. I'll get there. I'm getting there. This is pretty close. Yeah, obviously this is just for right now. I have a God mode set up that you can actually activate. I won't probably have the God mode available once I release it on Steam under the playtest format. I have a quality setting too. That was another thing I added because once again I'm trying to split into, you know, yeah, if you look up there in the corner, right? I mean, I'm going for console as well as mobile, so I gotta make it playable across the board. So I have this quality setting feature, which that'll be more for the mobile side. So it'll kind of default to a few less bells and whistles. But if you got a device that can keep up, then you can hit the switch and you can get yourself some better quality. Obviously on PC and consoles and Switch, obviously that's going to be there automatically, right? We'll have the higher one by default. So options, resolution, obviously that would be a PC setting. You won't see that in the other ones. Controls, yeah, customized doesn't actually work yet, but that will be coming in. I will have it. I may actually redo this menu, just simplify it into sort of just a list kind of format. Just not yet. I mean, I like that I did this graphics, but you know, as much time as I spent on it and using the cute little shader, I'm probably still gonna nuke it, unfortunately, because it's not as practical. I mean, obviously, once you start adding these keys in here, it's just gonna get messy. So that'll probably go away. So let's go back. Let's see, audio and text. So this is kind of cool. Let's see. So audio is setting. Yeah. So you can mute the whole game if you want to. I mean, you could just mute your console or whatever as well. Music, if you want to kill the music and have it. Right now, the music only affects the in-game music. It doesn't affect the menus or anything else like that. That'll be coming. I just haven't wired it up yet. So right now, if you turn music off, oh, here we go. The music's still playing. So someone right now be kind of going, what the hell, dude? Come on. You know, I know. That'll be coming. I'll leave it on for right now. Subtitles. This is kind of a cool thing. This wasn't needed because, once again, I'm going to be doing localization, and the cutscenes are going to be in English, and at least in the vocalizations. So I put subtitles in there. So now, well, I'll show you that in a second, but you'll see how the subtitles pop up, and once we have localization popped in, that'll be nice because it'll just drop, you know, exactly like it should be for whatever language is being selected. And then credits, there you go. There's the credits list, which is pretty much like it was before. Let's go back. And then localization, which I don't have active yet, but yeah, same concept. Yeah, I'm out of practice here. The original concept is to have it available for like 7 different languages. The most frequently done ones, you know, it could change a bit depending on who's handling the localization and the cost and all that kind of stuff. But that right now the goal is to shoot for 7. So fingers crossed. And then obviously quit. That would be available for some formats, obviously not in others. Yeah, so there's our main menu. So now if we go into play and I hit casual and
392.3.
so nothing new in here except for the fact now here's the titles like I talked about. So this will be slick. This will actually just kind of swap out to whatever language is chosen.
Our survey equipment from the planet's surface.
Number
1.
Yes, Captain?
What was that?
Looks like a tribble, sir.
What's it doing on my ship?
Looks like it's feasting on our quadrotriticale.
Ah! Engineering!
Aye, sir.
Scanners show a tribble on my ship.
Aye, sir.
Great. Lock onto that fur ball and beam it into the center of that planet!
But sir...
Now! No!
I believe engineering was trying to mention that it couldn't get a lock on just the tribble. But I'm guessing that you figured that out. Well played, sir. Well played.
There you go. And I love the music. Our music guy has been, Mr. Reinhold has been fantastic in creating some cute little ditties in here throughout. So very happy with that. So here is our progress menu. Most of this obviously looks the same for those that have been around for a while. But there's a couple of new features in here. Mission details, which at this point, because I already set this player to all missions completed, so it's not actually listed. But even if I didn't have this, if I had it by default, which is you're on mission 1, I don't have this set up yet, so it would just kind of break anyways. But if you complete all the missions and unlock all 20 outfits, this is what you get rewarded with, which is kind of slick, right? And then spin gems. Originally, I had this in the end of the levels, right? If you remember way back when. But that does not work well when you're on, like, the boss missions, right? Where you have the lava constantly rising. I mean, it just seems kind of fake. It kind of breaks the mood, right? When you're scrambling to get to the very top, right? And here's the lava coming after you. And you get to the top, and the lava just kind of stops conveniently. It's like, okay, you finished, right? And now you can do your upgrades, so the lava's going to just wait here. You know, that kind of broke some of the immersion level there, I thought. So, as a result, what I did was, you know, just to make it more fun and exciting, is that you go ahead and finish the level, and you come back to here in the progress menu, and this is where you actually will upgrade. So this is the upgrade menu. There's a glitch right here. The hearts don't actually update right now. I'll fix that, obviously. So if you had like 3 hearts and you come back, you'd see all 5 illuminated. Little bug. Little thing that like that I gotta fix up. But obviously nothing you can buy now. You're gonna say I'm already at full health, but you need more gems. There you go. So this purchase system is pretty much the same as you may remember, you know, at the end of a level. The only difference now is that this is just embedded in the progress menu. So there you go. So you have your mission details, spin gems, and then you can actually start playing the next level. And then we go into it. And here we go. Not much has changed in this one. Obviously, since this is one I've been working on the longest, I don't want to do the math on how long that truly has been, but it's been like 2 years. Okay. So this, for the most part, there's not much that's different here. I think I went back and cleaned up some of the lava. So I had some issues there. The only thing that's really new is I finally got around, and I had a couple of people comment on this. It was the fact that, you know, the game is okay, but, sorry, let me rewind here. The game is amazing. There you go. Okay. But the sound is sort of like on a, you know, right now the sound kind of plays sort of like in 2D, right? You know, it just, there's no left and right separation. You know, there's no stereo and that kind of stuff. And they were totally right. So I finally started implementing that recently. And that's part of the reason why I had to go back and update all of the prefabs, or update the broken characters for the prefab versions, so I could get all that stuff implemented. So now, if you can hear it where you are, 2D sound versus play sound at location. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So originally what I had was the microphone just sits on top of the camera, right? So, and that was fine just to record what it was, and because it was, I was doing manually scripting the distance, right? So I was adjusting the volume by script, which is stupid. But that was just because I was too lazy to figure out how the hell the 3D audio works, because I played with it before a couple of times, and part of it was also because the 3D audio in Unity sucked before. One of the things that it did terribly was the fact that you couldn't change the spatial positioning, or at least the default setting was, if you could, default setting was wrong. So what would happen is, like, if you're like facing a character, right? Like if I was like in front of this glommer, let me get up in here. Right? So when he makes this noise, like that, right? You can hear him, right? But if you have your back to him it was like the microphone would face away. So then you would literally not hear him, even though he's making that noise when he's, doing that growl. Do the growl. Come on. There. You would literally not hear it because it was turned away. Once again, I don't know if it was because the settings were just poorly set up by default, or if they've just fixed it. But now they have fixed it, right? So now the 3D audio settings in Unity, in my opinion, are much better behaved. And what I can do is show you what I have here for the setup on this. Let me get to the player. There you go. Come into the glommer right in here. Enemy charging. Yeah, so this is an example of one that's actually, okay, this is one I haven't fixed. Of course. Thank you for embarrassing me, jerk. Okay, so I haven't fixed all of them. So he's still broken. Okay. But I'll find a better example of all the ones I had to choose. Some of these I have fixed, and obviously not him. So let me find... How about you? Let me get by you without squishing you. Yeah, I know, buddy. Okay, how about you? Are you fixed, or am I just gonna... Enemy charging. Nope. Okay, not fixed either. Okay. All right, you know what? I'll show you the player. I think I at least have him, but because I transferred the microphone... Yeah, so this is the old setting. I transferred the microphone from the camera to the player specifically, right? And I'll find a good example here in a second, that does the fall off. And at first, the idea is, okay, well, I'm doing like spatial audio, so let me go ahead and just slam it right over to 3D. And that works great most of the time, but there's some instances where that makes weird stuff happen. And the glommer is a perfect example. Let me see if I can find one scene here where I actually did fix the stupid glommers. All right, I thought I did. Let's see. Let's see. How about him? All right, yeah, so you can see the blue indicating that he's a prefab. So let me just go ahead and do this. I'll load that scene manually and come over here. There we go. So here's what I did. So the settings that I went with, and this is my personal preference. I mean, this is no right or wrong kind of thing, but why do I have that? Oh, because it's still loaded. Okay. So what you see here is this is the distance, right? So basically, if he's more than 25 units away, then the audio doesn't transfer, right? The microphone will not pick it up, right? And then what I do is if it's within like 12 or so, right, then it's pretty strong. It's going to pick up almost the whole thing. And then the fall off goes from there, right? So when you're really close, you hear the full volume, and then you can see as it gets a little further away, it starts to roll off a little bit, but then does a sharp roll off, right? But one thing I did here is, as I talked about before, right, the initial inclination is just to grab the spatial blend and throw it straight over to 3D 100% like that. That's great for most of the time, but in this case, what happens with that is when the glommer, when you squish him, right, that microphone is like right on top of him, right, and the glommer does that, that growl sound, right? So if you have it fully on 3D, the audio is like on full left, and then if you start to slide off of them while the growl is going, the audio instantly switches to full right, and it jumps all the way over. Nightfall, welcome back, buddy. Yeah, I was doing the math, man. It's been over 6 months. I typed it wrong, and the title I said 9.5 months, but my math sucked. So it has been over 6 months, 7 months, 7.5 months, whatever the hell it's been. It's been a long time, and so yeah, I'm just welcome back, man. Good to see you. Just kind of playing catch up now and trying to show you that I did not stop working on the damn thing. I did actually go off and take a bunch of freelance work, which of course, because it's mostly TV shows, I can't really tell you about yet. But when they come out, I'll spill the beans on what I was working on. But did work on this also, just not quite as much. But so I'm just kind of going through the laundry list of all the stuff I updated over the last several months. And as I was just telling Lucini, that the fact that I'm really close to actually getting a version out that I'll be releasing on Steam under Steam's brand new playtest mode. So you guys will be able to play the entire game for free for the foreseeable future until I actually get the game fully released, and then the playtest version will drop away. But at least in the beginning, you guys will be able to check out everything, right? And hopefully find all the little bugs that I've missed. But so anyways, one of the things I was talking about right now was the fact that, I was switching the audio over from just pure 2D to 3D, right? And specifically with this, at least in the Glommer's case, like I said, because you're squishing them and the microphone now is located directly on the player, right? So if the player lands on the Glommer and then slides over, what happens is that sound effect goes literally instantly from left speaker to right speaker, and it's really disconcerting. So what I did was I split the difference, right? By dragging this back midway through, then what happens is you get some of the slide, but you still get it in both speakers, right? So most of the creatures, most of the objects in the game are fully at like all the way over as 0.1 for 3D audio, maybe like a 0.8 or something, just so there can be a little bit of an echo to it, that way, it resonates wherever you hit it or wherever you encounter it. But for the most part, you'll see that slid further over. But that's the key thing that has changed in the underground. Pretty much everything else is as you may remember from before. So let me go to my levels here. Underground. Oops. Not levels, but scenes. Come back to my underground. And as I just demonstrated the fact that I have not updated all the Glommers. Backtracking a little bit, because I wrote my own level editor, and my method for getting the stuff out of the level editor was just a simple drag and drop process. And in doing so, that would actually break the prefab. So what I have now is a bunch of objects, a bunch of monsters and creatures and stuff like that are not prefab friendly, right? So I have to go back in and swap all of those busted ones out for the prefab, so that way I can make all these little tweak and adjustments and make sure that they all kind of get updated properly. So as I just demonstrated a few minutes ago, the fact that some of them have been updated and some of them haven't. Speaking of updated, I also, I think I updated the GUI one more time. I had to do that primarily just because I have to have like a version that, there's the cursor, this is sort of like Android friendly, right? Mobile friendly, right? So have this will pop up if needed, and I want to make sure, because it originally is filling up the entire space, so I had to sort of condense it down. So the only really thing that I wasn't totally happy with was changing this to points. I couldn't think of a good icon. If you guys can think of something, feel free to suggest it for what points would be, but right now I'm just using PTS to signify your points. I mean, I don't know of a good icon for score. So anyways, so right now I'm leaving it right there. I may update that, but I had to condense it just so I could actually get space in there for the pause. So, but that's pretty much it. That's new in terms of the underground, right? That's everything else behaves pretty much the same. I did tweak it a little bit, as I mentioned, some of the lava stuff, but that was more like technical fixes and nothing really new. Okay, slight thing. I don't know if it even registers for you guys or not, but the Tribble actually has a little glow light that follows him around. So as you can see, when he comes up to the terrain, it kind of gives just a little bit of illumination to it. It's nothing like profound, but I just thought it was a nice subtle touch, just, since I went much darker, and I can't remember if I was this dark with it last time I was showing you guys, a million years ago. So this may be much darker, but I just thought it was a nice touch. I went darker just to keep the separation sharper, right? So it just makes other objects kind of pop out better, I think. And it when it was a bit lighter, I think it sort of got lost sometimes with some of the background stuff. So that was my hope there, was to separate it, and by adding that. Here's another thing too. I don't know if this was here before or not, but now when he comes around lava, he actually lights up, right? So I'm not sure. I know I had like the glows around the lava before, but now he actually physically gets brighter, right? And well, it's abrupt. Right now it's just sort of there's a box, right? A collider box, and when you're in it, you get illuminated. When you come out of it, it takes you out. one of those things that it could be better, CBB as we used to say, is have that ramp up and down, right? So right now, when it comes out of there, instead of having it just pop off, if I can do it, there you go. Instead of that, see how it pops on and off. It'd be nice to have it ramp up and down. That's something I'll revisit, I think, once I get through all the other crap that really needs to be addressed. So, there you go. So that is Underground. And let's switch over to Canyon. Give you a look-see and all that kind of fun stuff. So let me come over here into my Donde Está game controller. Let's close this Space Cat. We don't need that. Really? I closed game controller? Why would I do that? I never do that. Game controller. Maybe. Hey, there he is. Alright. So, bring this back up, and let's see. So now we want to go over into Canyon. So how you guys been, by the way? Anything new on your end? I know it's been a million years. And I thank you so much for coming back to say hello. You know, just to say, wait, are you seriously still around? You still have a pulse? Yeah, believe it or not. As I mentioned in the beginning when I was talking to Lucini, these are going to be much shorter. Before I was doing 2-3 hours, that kind of stuff. I'm actually knocked this down just to 1 hour, but I'm going to do it 3 times a week. So the idea is that this will be less about me slogging through code and making you guys suffer, that kind of stuff, because you guys know how much I suck at coding. It'll be less about that and more of the idea of me kind of showing you what the latest is and what I've been working on. And then maybe a little bit of the, okay, now I'm working on the next task. So it's basically what I'm doing is the video game equivalent of a cooking show, right? I've honestly been missing your streams. I'm really glad you're back. Thanks, man. Oh, jeez. Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. That's too kind. So, yeah, it threw me off there. So I'm going to do like the game development equivalent of the cooking shows, right? Where they show you like, you know, here's ingredient A, B, and C, and then you start mixing it together, and then they open up the oven, and there's the finished product. That's what I'm hoping to do here, right? Kind of show you what I've been working on. So I'm giving you a quick Cliff Notes version of the last several months that I've been working on this, and then what I'll do is I'll show you what I'm working on next, and then hopefully I can show you the results of that by the next visit, which will come on Wednesday. But Nightfall, man, thank you, man. I'm glad you're back. I'm really glad you're back. I'm glad. I wasn't sure if anyone even will come back, so it's great that you guys are coming back to say hello. And if nothing else, just the same reason why people slow down for car wrecks, because you want to see, wait, did he actually not quit this game? No, I really didn't. I needed to do some work. I had to go get some pay, you know, but did that. And so I was surprised when I saw, you know, my wife said the same thing too. No. But yeah, it really was one of those things that I did get really bogged down. There was some other stuff that was going on as well, but I won't bore you with all the gory details. But the key thing was just the fact that the project did push longer than I originally intended, and it was just when I had a couple of freelance animation projects that were offered back. Yeah, I did. Did you do absolutely animation job? Yes. And I can't wait to tell you about it too, because there's some really fun details in there. You know, I can't wait because, and what's funny is I will tell you this. Okay, no spoilers on the stuff. I can't tell you the shows or anything, but originally one of my go-to places that has been so kind to bring me back after, Jesus, what has it been? 16 years. Anyways, originally they booked me for just like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks worth of work, and it ended up going for over 2.5 months. And quite honestly, it would have gone even longer, but it's just one of those things that I actually said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and stop down, which was probably an idiot move on my part, right? You know, I literally was turning down work, but it was one of those things that I knew that if I kept going, I probably could have gone for another 4 months maybe or something like that, but I really wanted to try and get this game out like I had promised, you know, and it's close, you know. But yeah, once the shows that I participated in actually come out, I'll definitely backtrack and give you all kinds of fun, gooey details on that. There's some fun stuff. So, you know, and as I hinted before too, I have one other project too that will be coming up. That's going to be nights and weekends, and I hope that one does come around. It hasn't. We haven't like signed the dotted line yet, but I think that one's going to happen. And if it does, that's going to be a neat one. But I have to wait on that. But yeah, it's all animation stuff. You know, happy to say that I was able to go back to that after all this time. But yeah, completely lost my train of thought there. I guess I'll just let me just jump in here and show you the Canyon stuff. So for Canyon, for this, now this is one that I it's one of the things I always wanted to do, but never had the time. What can you say about the new projects? Like if it's a show, HBO or Netflix, I can't be that specific. I will say that it will come out. It's like it's not. What can I say? It's TV stuff. I can go that far. How about that? I can say it's TV stuff. How about that? Everything was pretty much TV stuff. So, yeah. And, you know, I don't know what the timetable is on that kind of thing. I mean, because we literally, we get so little information on these things, right? So, I mean, we really are sort of like this, you know, these little gnomes working in this hidden cavern. We do all this stuff. So we don't even know a lot of stuff until it actually hits. So, I have to hope that it comes out pretty soon because I'm dying to tell you guys about it. I mean, with TV, you mean TV show, right? Do you mean like non-streaming service? Sorry. Sorry. I think that's about as far as I can go at this point. But I will definitely. There's a couple things in there too. So I mean, once any or all of them start just asking. Once I see the light of day, I'll absolutely spill the beans. But you know, here's the thing. I love going back and doing it, right? So I would like to keep going back and doing it again. So I'm not gonna piss them off or say anything that will break the NDA. So Nightfall, stoked to see what it is. Cool, man. Yeah, absolutely. And the cool thing is if you guys can hold in there, just hold out because there'll be some fun behind the scenes stuff too, right? That's always kind of cool. Is that once it actually comes out, I can tell you some of the how things kind of went sideways in some things, and some things weren't intended, kind of blossomed into some things else. So there'll be some fun details in there. So I promise I will share once that all hits. So, but in the meantime, there's this game I'm making. Oh, and the other one too. God, I really wish I hope this other one really does hit. I mean, I held up for some months. I can wait a little longer. Thank you. I appreciate the patience there. Thank you so much. But, wait, yeah, I got that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, especially, I mean, I had fun in these other ones, but this other project, God, I really do hope that it comes around because it'll be new for me, right? It'll be an area where I have not touched on yet. And, you know, but, anyways, so, sound effects. So 3D. Yeah, I you know what? I don't think I've ever worked on anything that in all the the couple of decades that I've been doing that stuff, right? Professionally, I don't think I've ever done anything in 2D. Yeah, I've always been in 3D land. Usually scary robots. Hence the company name. But yeah, I don't think I don't think I've done anything in 2D before. I worked on one that was like a pilot, or not a pilot, but it was a proposal for a video game. But yeah, no, I mean, this is actually, ironically enough, this is my first real 2D. Oh, 3D gaming. Obviously, you're done in 3D and animating. Oh, no. All the work that I've just done has been for TV content. So no, I have not actually done any. The last video game that I worked on, that was not like my own project. God, was Transformers: War for Cybertron. And how many millions of years ago was that, right? So no, TV stuff. So here we go. Sound effects. You guys can you guys are literally the first people to hear this, so you can tell me your thoughts on this. And if you hit, now you get the big old roar. I played the game and I still have it in Steam, and you can't buy it. Oh, really? They took it out? Oh, man. Yeah. Okay. Well, then hey, let me do this real quick. I'm gonna squish them so you can hear the squish sound effect. You guys tell me what you think here. You ready? Here it comes. Kind of gratifying, right? A little crunch, a little squish, and a big roar. So yeah, if you go back and look at Transformers War for Cybertron, the scene where Bumblebee first meets Optimus Prime and they introduce to each other, that was me. I got to animate that, right? And little things here and there. Some of the it was mainly the cutscene stuff. Originally, I was working just doing cutscene stuff, and then I ended up going to High Moon and working there for a few months, just kind of doing background character stuff like that. So long ago, I remember enjoying that one. Yeah, it was a fun project. I mean, as I said, originally I was part of a crew that was just doing the cutscene stuff, but then High Moon, which was is located down in Carlsbad, California, they called me up and said, would you like to spend, I guess it was like almost 6 months. They said, if you want, we'll pay for your hotel, right? If you want to come down and just work during the week, and then in the weekends I would drive back up to LA to spend time with the wife. So for that, mainly I was just, I wasn't doing anything special when I went down to High Moon. It was more like background characters, right? Just adding more animations to certain ones, that kind of stuff. I'm gonna mute this again because that was pretty much all the new sound effects, was just the the sandworms there. But yeah, that was, God, I don't even know how many years ago that was. At least 15 years ago, right? 14? Excuse me. So I mean, it's been that long since I well, no. Okay, no, sorry. Let me rephrase that. That is the last video game that I worked on that actually got released. Okay. There's at least one other that I worked on, but unfortunately, I don't think I can even talk about that one, which is a shame because, you know, tell you what, you know, we're in a private conversation sometime, right? You know, face to face or something. You know, no, even then I can't do it, but. I did work on it. I did work on one project that was helmed by someone pretty famous. So if I ever meet that person, you know, I can tell him, by the way, I worked on this project that never saw light of day. And he'll go, security. You know. Anyways, slightly distracted. All right, so what I was also going to show is the fact that one of the things that may one day we'll play charades and you can act it out. There you go. Sounds like. So one of the things that kind of bummed me about this was that the tiles are good, but the tiles were limited, right, in terms of what you could do with them, right? And what I thought about is I wanted to find some way to shade them, and there's no code anywhere that says, you know, if you'd like to add anything. And you know, spoilers, you can see I now have these shadows. I don't know, you can tell me if it registers, if you guys can actually see it, but there's this shadow that drapes across and actually moves in a parallax fashion, right? So not sure if that registers or not, but that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to add something like that, and I went looking for forever for scripts that would show me how to do that. And what I found was there's no such thing. It's not possible. So I had to come up with my own invention. So I'll show you my little hack idea, and you guys can tell me if it was creative or just a waste of time. Hopefully you think it's creative, because I hate to think that I spent this much time on something that was meaningless. But here you go. So what I did is a little trick, and I wasn't sure if it would hit the performance at all, but it really hasn't. Even on mobile, this can, on a decent device, this will actually play fine. But this is one of the things that this little layer shadow kind of thing will go away by default on mobile, right? Just to make sure performance is okay. But if it's okay, then it'll come back, right? You can turn it on and the shadow will be there. So here's what I did. Let me show you. Boom. So I have Canyon Shadow. There he goes. Shadow group. Why can I see? Oh, here he goes. There you go. So I just made this little random pattern, right? I just kind of following the look of the jagged edges, right? Kind of some back and forth trial and error. But I came up with this pattern, right? And then what I had to do is figure out how to get this kind of shadow to go on top of the tiles. And by the way, if anyone actually has some way of doing this in an automated fashion, I would love to know. I mean, it's a little after the fact now. Horses are out of the barn, but I'd be curious if there is a better way to do this in code. So my solution, here you go, was to create masks, right? So what I ended up doing was every single level, and once again, this is why the game's not done. This took a while. Every single level, what I would do is make a holdout mask, right? Like this. So then what happens then is that this shadow gets masked out by that layer that I just showed you, right? So for example, if I go ahead and turn none, now you can see it, right? Here you go. So now you can see that shadow that I just showed you, how it's displayed completely, right? But then if I go in and if I turn the mask inside only, now you can see that shadow is only displayed over the tiles. So it's kind of slick. I mean, it's, you know, it works really well. And because it's just a generic shadow, I'm able to like drop the resolution really low, right? And not have to worry about it looking like crap, because it's soft is actually good for this shadow. So that was actually a nice little perk. But I mean, like if I were to reverse this, now you can actually see, now by flipping the mask, now you see the shadows are going everywhere but on the tile, right? But if I put that back to where it should, now you can see how that works. So I thought that was kind of a creative solution. What I was most happy about the fact that, number one, it worked, and number two, more importantly, is that it really didn't hit. That looks really good, to be honest. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thanks. And what I was most excited about was the fact that it really did not affect the performance at all, right? So that was the best discovery, was the fact that it really was performant, right? It really did behave well. So, and discard changes. So, and it's subtle, right? I mean, it's one of those things that I showed up my wife and she's like, wait, what? You know? So, I mean, for her, it didn't even register, but, excuse me. You know, it's just, for example, I've got a line there, don't I? See it right there? Yeah, stupid. Stupid tile maps. Don't get me started on Unity tile maps, man. They have edge issues. That drives me nuts. Okay, I'll revisit that. That's another CBB. But, okay, so for example, here, see if I could do like a before and after with this. Let me make this bigger. But, yeah, this specifically was what I was hoping to talk about today, because this one was a lot of trial and error. Somebody that actually knows what the hell they're doing would probably bang this out in no time, but for someone that's clueless like me, this took a good chunk of experimentation. So let's come in here. There we go. So platform shadow. There we go. So if we just go ahead and turn him off there. So this is what it looked like before, right? So I at this point, I think it registers now, right? Now when you see this, you see how it's just uniformed, that beige, baby crap brown color, right? How's that for a descriptor? But, you know, so it just, there's no breaking, there's no break in the patterns, right? It's just, it's kind of there, right? So that is why I was so adamant about saying that I really need something like this. Just now, I mean, you see how subtle it is, but it's just, it's almost like subconsciously, it makes the level look more refined and detailed, right? Gotta remember that one when buying paint. Yeah, I'm sorry, sir. You said what? What color was that? So, but there you go. That was a lot of tinkering, and as you'll see, I also implemented this in the jungle as well. Speaking of which, you know, now's a good time for that. Aside from that, nothing really changed in this world, except for the sound effects, of course. Right? You know, now these guys have their own sound effects finally. Took too long to get to that, but did. But everything else, canyon-wise, is pretty much unchanged from last time. so sound effects and the shadows are the big thing there. But then now we start getting to the jungle and the spaceship, and that's where the time sink really occurred. So I'll tell you what, I'll load this up. Let me go into, I'll go to jungle, don't save, let me switch this over. Oops. Save, switch over. Okay, so what's that? Oh, let's see. I'm sure I asked a year ago, but how did you animate the characters? Oh, I would love to say that I use Spine, but I went against it, and for one very simple reason. That's been addressed now, too. I didn't use Spine simply because, at the time, there was no real practical graph editor. And as somebody that has lived and died by Maya, I gotta have a graph editor, right? I mean, Maya's been my bread and butter. So, in this case, I reluctantly used Maya, which is a fantastic 3D tool, but not pretty when it comes to 2D. So, yeah, so I'll load up something here real quick. Let me throw this over to the side so it's not looking stupid here. Okay. Come here, buddy. Let's go. Let's see. Tribbles. Let me load up a scene. So, for example, how about Sandworm? Since we just saw him. Crawling. Alright. Let's see. Uh-oh. Well, that sucks. I have no textures in here. Nah. Okay. So, this is the Sandworm. You can just kind of picture him. So, you can kind of see it, right? I'm too lazy to reconnect the textures right now. So you use Maya mainly because you were already a pro in it? Yeah, I mean, I've been using Maya for like, God, a million years now. So, and because I own Maya LT, well, I rent Maya LT, which is the cheap version. Maya, I think I discussed this before, Maya I think is like $200 a month or something like that, which, forget it, no way. Maya LT is more like $20, $25 a month, right? Which is just night and day difference. Now, the key difference is that you can't render here, right? This is designed for game makers, which, hey, that's what I'm doing. So for me, it's actually perfect. It's a good middle ground for me. If I was starting out now, though, the only reason I'm still using Maya is just because I do know it like the back of my hand. But if I was starting out now, I would have no qualms with jumping on Blender. But I'm just, too old and too cantankerous to try and shift gears now and switch over to Blender. I may still do that, if I can find the time, but not now. So anyways, so you can see what I did is, let's go shading, X-ray joints. Where's my joints? Let me see, get those joints. There we go. Do I have controls? Oh, I do have actually. Okay, I actually set this up for controls. Excuse me. So as you can see, let me do wireframe shades on these so you can see it better. There it goes. So there. So now you get a better sense. So you can see how these guys are all offset, right? So, these are segmented parts of the Sandworm, right? And you can see like the little teeth that are sticking off like there. There's the little guys right here, right? The main body and the segments. Excuse me. And as you can see, I have these guys set up in like this cascading depth. You don't have to do that for Unity, right? That's not a necessity. With Unity, obviously, you can set up any given, if it'll let me select. Come on, buddy. What the hell? Come here. Jerk. It won't let me select anything. Let's see. Accessories. Okay. Top mount. Triple sprites. There we go. So. There we go. So, like here, right? So, even though I have these tribbles, yeah, so this one is pretty flat, right? But as you see here, I have order and layer, right? So each one of those little fur segments are set up on their own layer. So that way, I don't have to worry about Z-depth issue. Unfortunately, Maya absolutely sucks when it comes to Z-depth, especially if you have textures involved, right? Which I do with this. which is another reason why I'm not bothering to load in the texture, because you have Z-depth fighting so bad, and there's no reason it should, right? I mean, if I have a gap, there's no reason for this one to ever go on top, but it still does with transparency. And it's just, it's a shortcoming of Maya, which, I wish they'd fix it, but they're not. So I had to space them out just so I could actually make that behave. And it doesn't matter if they could be a million miles apart, with Unity in its orthogonal view, it's always going to flatten it anyways, right? So it makes it not an issue. But long story short, that is why I did go with my LT, just because it's already there in my ownership, in my possession. When and if I actually go back and do another 2D game, which I don't know if I will, but if I do, I would absolutely look at Spine now. I would make the investment for Spine now that they actually have a proper graph editor. Then I would actually look at that. I think it's a fantastic tool. I would have gotten better animation, to be honest. I would have had much better animation in Spine, but I was just not willing to deal with the headaches of not having a graph editor. To me, that's like having a car without an engine. So I couldn't do that. So there you go. Next time, maybe. All right, so I did switch that over. So if I fire this up now, we should get this to come up correctly. Wait for it. Hey, there we go. All right. So once again, new sound effects. And the shadows. As you can see, the shadows are drifting. I think they resonate even better in this one than they did over in the canyon. Oh, and then you can hear the separation. If you guys are listening in stereo, you can actually hear... Oh, you jerk. Yeah, so like here, because he was to the left of me, you can actually hear him in that left side speaker, right? And because I didn't want it to be too extreme, because that's the frustrating thing about Unity with the spatial audio, is that as soon as it goes to one side, it will just throw it straight to that speaker completely, 100%. So that's why, once again, I'm not necessarily doing like 100% 3D spatial. I'm doing like 80% spatial, 20% 2D. That walking over the rope animation is so good. Thanks. Yeah, it was mainly just, I think I just took the walking kind of, yeah, I mean, it was like, it was like a first stab at it, but every now and then you kind of get lucky on the first go around. Oh, so here he goes. Whoops, why didn't I, oh, because I'm too far over. Okay, he's not gonna get out of there. Oh, okay, I don't have a sound effect there yet. I'm missing that one. So these are, I mean, this is like all new stuff. So, oh, and that was like one bug too. Let me show you that real quick. This was driving me nuts too, because, ow, jerk. So, alright, I'll just do it this way. There. Right there. So when he's walking underneath me like that, I was having him hit me, right? Because his head was touching me. So the workaround was I literally just took the collider box on the head and kind of squished it down a little bit. Just enough that he could walk over you and not trigger a hit right there. Excuse me. Alright. Oh, and then here we go. So, oh, let me see if I can get him over here. I added little steps when he squishes the vine. Yeah, it doesn't trigger as much as I want. I may revisit that. Could be better for sure. Oh, so yeah, I'm not gonna go into the AI today. I'll save that for another discussion since I'm already past my 1 hour mark that I was gonna quit at. But I've overhauled the AI I think at least 3 times now, and I'm finally happy with it. So now you see how he just plants his butt down, right? So what it does is it just ping pongs. And originally what was happening was the fact that he's at a point where he couldn't get to me, right? You know, a moment ago he couldn't reach that. So what it does is it would just kind of hit between these 2 waypoints back and forth because it couldn't reach me. So now he goes and he sits his butt down until it has a significant change to the path. When the path completely changes, then he wakes up and comes after you. And at first I just did it as a fix because it looked terrible, because it would literally just kind of flail, right? And it looked absolutely god awful. But the cool thing about it is when he does this, it's kind of funny because it looks like he's just kind of, you know, he goes, you know what, I'll wait you out, buddy. You know, okay, like here. He'll come over here. He'll just plant. See, you see how he did that? He went back, forth, back, right? So that's what I give the allotment to, right? If he hits the waypoint like 2 times in half a second, that's the indicator that, oh, you know what, you're stuck, right? So just put your butt down and wait for the path to change, which I'll go into that more in detail some other time. But, oh, let's get him eaten now. You hear the sound effect of him getting chomped on now. You ready? Here he goes. To me, that's gratifying, right? Especially if the ape does some damage on you, right? And you get him all chewed up. I think that's, yeah, well, it cracks me up. So there you go. The other thing I did, too, on here, subtle stuff, but I added a shading round to the foreground and the background tree, just the shrubs, the greenery there. Just give a little shading. And literally all it is I just make sense what you did with the AI. Cool. Thanks. Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot more to it. I mean, it was so broken, right? Both the ape and the cat. And the worst thing is that it would be really extreme edge cases, right? So it was not all the time that it happened, right? And that was all the more frustrating. You know, so I finally had to break down and just basically started over, right? I used the old approach as a template, but I really did just sort of like do from scratch. But next time, I'll give you the details on that one next time for sure. Excuse me. But for the shadowing on here, what I ended up doing was I was too lazy to go back and do that approach where I told you I did like the layers here, right? There you go. So like here is the level, right? So you can see the orange outline to show that the mask, right, that cuts out the shadows of the trees there. I didn't want to do that for every one of these stupid little guys, so I got lazy, and I just, as an experiment, let me just literally take the shadow, right, off of the tribble and drop it on there, and it worked, right? So I just made a light version, and I just went around and just stuck a bunch of them on it, right? So if we go in here, we go, there you go. So here's darken and lighten. So there you go. So if you could see that, I don't know if it registers, but so my workaround was just to create a bunch of just little glowy or darkening splotches and just laid them on top of it in an arbitrary fashion like that. Yeah, it's subtle, but it behaves too. Even on mobile, I'm happy to say that even on mobile, it was actually doing a decent frame rate. You know. And, oh, the other thing I forgot to mention about, too, with the, crazy how those small things can change look. I know, isn't it? Yeah. Because, I mean, there was, and feel, yeah, because I was definitely having some frustration. It's kind of like, I really want to get away from just that plain 2D tile look, right? But I didn't want to go back and redo the whole thing because I'm stuck with 2D tiles. I'm there, right? And I didn't want to, like, have to make custom everything for every level because I have, oh, geez. I mean, at least over 100 levels, right? And to go back and redo assets for all those would just be a nightmare. And on top of that, too, because remember there's less on the jungle level, but more so in the canyon, there would be times where I changed the layout design to make it easier on the easier difficulty, right? So not only did I have to do this layout for every level, but I had to do an easy and hard as well. So let's see if, yeah, okay, so now this one, there's no change, so there's only one tile map mask, but in some of the especially in the canyon, there'll be an easy and hard. So I had to like go and make 2 iterations for each level, and there's, you know, what, 30 some levels or something like that, more, you know, so it got old fast. So this idea of just using little simple sprites, if I can find them. There you go. Leaf highlight. There you go. So that's it. It's just like a little a little curvature, right? So that was all I did, was just took that little sprite that I threw together, right? And then I mean, it's like it's a little bean. Yep. At first I did it just because I was putting in a curve and I thought I'd have all these custom kind of shapes, but then I realized I could just kind of rotate it around, and it was, yeah, you know, it just reused it. I was just lazy, so I just reused it throughout the whole thing, and that seemed to work nicely. So, so there you go. There's Jungle with the new sound effects. Yeah, I'm kind of already past time, but I'm on a roll, so I guess I'll at least show you what the spaceship looks like now. Excuse me. And I'm out of practice, so I'm already losing my voice. My wife is the one that talks, right? She's the chatty one, so I'm not used to... Yeah, as long as it works. Exactly. Does it run? Yeah. Does it look okay? Yeah. Ship it. Yeah. Done. All right. Now, this one will probably break. I can guarantee you, because this is what I was working on. I was in the process of updating all of the objects to the prefab version, you know, as I mentioned before. So as a result, I can promise you that I will not get that far. We'll see. And the levels are randomized, so it's totally up to chance if we get one that will behave or not. But excuse me. So for this one, what I did was, rather than go back and do the whole overlay with the shadows and stuff, which works well for Canyon and also worked well for the jungle, which yeah, I can't remember if I even had that extreme foreground layer in the previous go round, right? But I mean, it was just that I added that just to add a little more parallax to it. So I can't even remember if that was there last time or not, but it was double duty. I mean, it adds an extra layer of sliding and motion parallax. Yeah, I lost the word parallax there. It adds an extra layer of parallax. So you have the main back here, and then you have like the extreme foreground and the background even further. So you just have that nice 3D kind of sliding effect. But it also did the extra benefit of justifying why you had those drop shadows, right, all over the tiles, because you get the sun's hitting that and it's casting, and that's why the shadows move, because it's a parallax thing. Okay, that's justifiable. Which for this one, at first I was doing the same thing. I was building some geometry in the extreme foreground, but it didn't seem to make as much sense. So my backup solution was to add the idea of like this quasi lighting, right? And once again, the exact same thing. You know, in this case, it's just a circular sphere kind of applied and stretched. But all this is just now it has this quasi lighting look to it. You know, and rather than going in and producing like an entire complex baked lighting kind of thing, it's just a bunch of sprites. Oh, so now you have a bunch of sound effects here. Still missing some sound effects. You can hear him when he actually hits the computer now. Oh, and the door closes too. The sound effect of that. Yeah, he shoots at me. Oh, hey, wait. Why did you just walk through there? Oh, okay. You know what? Crap, I forgot to fix that too. Remember I told you I was in the process. So this is a level that was updating. Yeah, he walked through it. Yeah, here's why. See this red line here? Oh, by the way, I'm using Graphways. I've talked about it a million times over the time I've been doing this. Graphways is, originally it was a $10 plugin that allows you to do A-star searches in a 2D kind of fashion. He's made it free now. So if you ever have to do anything 2D, dude, jump on Graphways. I have no regrets paying $10 for this thing that's now free. Absolutely fantastic. And then what's happening here is, so these two nodes connect, right? But this electricity, once he triggers on, he's supposed to shut this node down. But remember I told you I'm in the process of updating, and I forgot. I got to put that on my list, because if we go look at our script, Graphways. Graphways. There you go. So this is the culprit right here, right? So if I click on this node, it actually will throw up a bunch of errors, so I won't click on it. But so all these are individual waypoints, right? So let's say this is 6 and this is 7, just hypothetically, whatever it is. So then what I do is I'd say from 6 to 7, which is a two-way, that can go back and forth. And then what happens is when this comes on, it goes and it tells these waypoints, oh, break that connection, right? But remember I told you this is what I was just working on actually this morning, as most recently as this morning, was swapping this out. And when I swap out the busted one for the prefab version, you can see I forgot to go back and put these values in there. So, excuse me, that was my mistake. So anyways, the line should disappear there, right? So let's see, well, this one too. Okay, crap, I've totally broken that one. Good. That's another thing I'll put on my list. Let's see if I can find one that actually does behave, though. Do that, and then I may go ahead and wrap things up. Let's see, is this one different? Yeah, okay. No, yeah, okay. So I fixed none of these, but you know what? Here. Okay, now I'm just pissed. So I'm going to go ahead and just fix one correctly. Just to demonstrate what it should do. Because I'm just annoyed. 5LR. So let's hard code this bad boy. Right down here. Alright. So I'm going to hard code this one level. I'm going to fix him. Is this Unity? Hey, Dimensionless. Yes, welcome. Yes, this is actually, I'm using Unity. That is correct. I could have used Graphways when I was using Unity. Move to Unreal. Yeah, Unreal, you have to write your own, right? Sorry, I'm being funny. Yeah, Unreal is a beautiful, beautiful looking engine, but Unity absolutely owns it when it comes to plugins. I'm sorry, but that's just my personal finding. Dimensionless, welcome, welcome. Yep, I'm using Unity. I'm using 2019.3. I haven't gone up to 2020 yet, just because I'm close to getting this one out the door, and I don't want to jinx breaking stuff. So, let me go ahead and load up that one level spaceship. And that was 5, I said, right? 5LR? Yep. I'm using Unreal for 3D. It has a complete nav mesh that you can add. I guess 2D would be like in Unity. Well, okay, no, well, we're talking about two different things, though. We're talking about A-Star versus nav mesh, because Unity has built-in nav mesh as well, right? But it's a little more convoluted in terms of trying to get it to go from A to B, right? Well, no, actually, that's not true. With nav mesh, you could just say, hey, I want to go from here to here, right? But because this is so specific, right? Because you have edges and he has to transport from edge to edge, that's a lot more complex than just but Unity nav mesh is for 3D too, right? I think it's exclusively for 3D. It would be a pain to try and implement, which is, I looked at it for about 2 seconds and realized that was not an option for what I was doing here. Because I have used nav mesh before. My previous game, one of my previous games, Valley Village, has these little guys that run out and then run over to buildings and repair the buildings and run back, and that uses the nav mesh. And at that point, all you have to do is sort of say, go from here. I look like John Carmack. Wow, that's a first. I've never heard that one before. Wait, do you think if I go to the bank, I could convince him I'm John Carmack? Do you think, No. Okay, maybe not. Yeah, that's what I meant. In Unity, I tried to do some AI stuff with A-Star, but that was just too advanced for me at the time. Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm an animator, right? That's my bread and butter kind of approach. So for me, I get stuck all the time as well, right? But I get so obnoxiously stubborn that I'll push on something until I figure out the damn thing, right? Or finally throw in the towel and find some other way to do it. But, okay, so anyways, I was going to go ahead and fix this. So let me show you this. Now, if I click on the Graphways now, I love this. This is Graphways here. I don't know if I would get good with Unity because I'm not good at coding. Well, you know what? That's less of an issue, right? This is true. Since the last time we talked, right, when I had this conversation, I'd always say if you're not a coder, then you definitely want to play with Unreal because Unreal has Blueprint, right? And Unity, you have to buy Playmaker or something like that. But guess what? Unity's changed. Unity bought, I think, Bolt, right? You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they bought Bolt and included it. So now you can actually use scripting. Visual scripting, should I say, rather than having to do any coding. I don't know how complex it'll get. I don't know how far you can take it before it kind of breaks things. I don't think you could probably do something this sophisticated, but I mean, this is sort of like up there. Now, I have tens of thousands of lines of code at this point, you know. But yeah, I mean, if you're interested, I mean, you know, Unity and Unreal cost nothing, right? So what's the difference between scripting and coding? Sorry, visual scripting. That's what let me clarify that. Visual scripting is like this. In a bolt. I cannot type. There you go. So, there you go. So this is visual scripting, right? So the idea of having nodes, right? And you connect them, and the nodes are, in essence, doing the coding for you, right? So you have a flowchart, right? I'm old, so I'd say flowchart. But a node-based visual scripting is what the kids call it. You know, and then outright actual coding is just writing infinite lines of code, right? In this case, 5,000 lines, which a real programmer would look at that and cringe, because that's not the way you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to break it into much more modular, smaller bytes, but I'm a hack. I have no idea what I'm doing, so I just do it all wrong. But anyways, the point is that Unreal and Unity cost zero, right? The only time either one of them costs you money is when you make a game that makes a good chunk of money. So if you're just playing, absolutely download them both, man. The only thing it takes up is your drive space and, you know, the amount of data for downloads, but give them both a play, man. So it's like the audio things in an audio software. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. That's a good analogy. Absolutely. So Unreal had the advantage for years, right, with Playmaker, which is built in. And Unity started working on their own for a couple of years, and in typical Unity fashion, they just kind of went, screw it. And they turned around and bought one of the companies that had been making one called Bolt. And Bolt's been around for a couple of years. So the great thing about that, though, is the fact that, Bolt. Yeah, exactly. So what's the budget of this Triple game so far? I don't have a good answer for that. I would say, I mean, I've the art you see here is made by some very talented people that I've farmed out to that are much better artists than I am. But that aside, I would say the assets and art stuff that I've ponied up cash for is maybe 10% of the budget, and 90% is just my time. You know, since I'm basically doing the animation and all the coding and all the game design and everything else aside from the original art content. So I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that. It's pretty small just because I really haven't paid myself, which if we circle back, this is why, you know, it's been over 7 months since I've done my last broadcast, because I did shut down for a while and I went back to work doing animation to do, you know, to get some money in the bank again. You know, so I could keep paying the bills while I try and finish this bad boy. So I don't know. I don't really have a good number for you. It's relatively low, and that's specifically because, I mean, if I had hired an animator and if I had hired a programmer to work for as long as I had, you know, we're talking, at least by U.S. standards, we're talking easily $150,000 probably. But it's me, and I suck as being my own boss, so I just totally screwed myself, you know, with the promise that when the game makes money, right, I will get that back. So, sorry for the non-answer there, but that's pretty much where it's at. I really, it's one of those things that after it's all said and done, I will go back and start figuring out exactly, and I will have to do that at some point too. So, okay, so let me come back here. I forgot to look. So 3 and 4, right? So if we come in here and we say 3 and 4, good. So now when this piece of electricity comes up, it will actually take that line right here and shut it off. So then the cat will know that he cannot walk through there, right? And then let me just do this one as well. 12 and 13, I think, was that? 12 and 13. So I need to fix this anyways, so you're just watching me fix it in real time. Let's see. Not switch, the electricity. Give me the electricity, jerk. Here it goes. Yeah. So I think I said 12, 13, and then 2. And I'll do this last one over here. Excuse me. And, oh, shoot, I forgot to look, didn't I? And it is 14 and 15. So if I come over here and I say it should disrupt 14 and 15, and I think that's all for electricity. Good. All right. So now, if you come back in here, there you go. See, it's already, once it fired up, you see it's already updated, and I'll mute this. Shh. There you go. So you can see the line is now missing here, right? And that's the beauty of Graphways, right? All I have to do is call a Graphway code and just say, hey, nodes 3 to 4, turn it off. And from that point on, whenever he does a search, which I could do this, it can do a real-time trace, but it does it in this kind of methodical fashion, so it's going to kind of be crappy. But you'll get to see up here, when the cat moves, you should see a line. There, see that? So this is here, you're seeing in real time the Graphways actually doing its search, right? Which is a nice way to debug. But the catch is the fact that while it's doing that debugging thing, it shows it in slow motion, but the character is actually still moving, right? So it kind of doesn't really do much for you. So I'm going to turn that back off, because by the time it's finished, it's already way past that point. So I'm going to turn the path debug off. Oops. Oh, because I think that was because I just broke that. Or because I don't have a waypoint there. Uh-oh. All right. You know what? I got to fix that. Yeah, he just left, didn't he? This is why the game is not out yet, right? For those that ask, why the hell haven't you released this thing yet? There's an example. It's just, and all it is this waypoint needs to be over here. I just got to make sure that that gets moved over. But, yeah, great example of why the game's not done yet. I think that's a perfect thing to end on right there. A total absolute failure. But, you know, I did, in an hour and a half, I did kind of go through and give you guys a rundown of all the latest and greatest. So you can actually see, even though I have been AWOL for a considerable amount of time, right, I have not been dormant. I have been doing this while also working on the freelance stuff. But, so yeah, I'm going to go back to work, updating all these levels, and obviously making that waypoint move over here so he doesn't just walk off the screen. We'll fix that. That needs to be over there. But, you know, it's you can see there's a lot of headway, right? I mean, there is a lot of progress here. You know, and so anyways, what I was going to say, just finally, just to wrap up, is, so right now I need to go through and finish all the spaceship levels, all the updates on that, right? And get all of that stuff updated. But once that's actually knocked out, right, and once it's behaving, right, then I'm going to go ahead and put it out there on Steam under playtest, and you guys can go ahead and have at it and have fun at finding all the bugs that I've missed. But you guys will be able to play the entire game for free, you know, in its current form, you know, at least until it's totally done. So I hope you guys will consider doing that. But that's going to do it, guys. I said 1 hour, and I'm past. My friends and I will test it out. Awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope you do. Yeah, you can. I guess you can wishlist it, or just hang tight here and just know that I don't know if you're on my Discord, but please feel free to join my Discord. Which, excuse me, and I failed. I don't have my links handy. Crap. It's around here somewhere. It's already wishlisted. Oh, awesome. Cool. Thanks. But I'll definitely update you here as well on my Discord, so join me on there. But that's it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and duck out. I will be back on Wednesday. But Lucini, Dimensionless, and wait, who else that came back as well? Oh, yeah, Nightfall was here, too. Nightfall, guys, thanks for coming back, man. Thanks for saying hello, and to find out that I really do still have a pulse, man. But yeah, I'll be back on Wednesday, and hopefully with good news on progress on the spaceship stuff, which means I'll be that much closer to getting the game out on Steam. But until then, you guys take care of yourselves, all right? And I will see you on Wednesday for the abbreviated review, all right? Okay, guys, take care of yourselves. Adios.